Welcome to my channel Coin TASUAS HD. Today, we are going on an exciting rare coin treasure hunt featuring 4 Jefferson 5-cent coins: the 1964 Jefferson nickel, the 2002 Jefferson nickel, the 1986 Jefferson nickel, and the 2013 D. Jefferson nickel. Are these coins worth more than 5 cents? Which one could have a valuable mint era, rare variety, or premium high-grade condition? In this video, we'll explore their history, mint marks, mintage, rare eras, collector value, and current market potential. So stay with us until the end, because one small nickel could be hiding a surprising story. Let's get started. Top 4. First up today, we are taking a close look at the 1964 Liberty 5-cent, better known to collectors as the 1964 Jefferson nickel. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary 5-cent piece, but 1964 is actually an interesting and historically important year for the Jefferson nickel series. Millions of these nickels were produced during a period when the United States Mint was dealing with a major nationwide coin shortage. Because of that unusual situation, the 1964 nickel has some fascinating production history, unusual mint mark characteristics, and collectible varieties that make it worth examining carefully. Most circulated examples are not rare or extremely valuable, but condition, mint mark, strike quality, varieties, and genuine mint eras can make a major difference. A worn 1964 nickel may be worth only a small premium over face value, while an exceptionally preserved example or a legitimate rare era can attract considerably more attention from collectors. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. The coin was designed to honor Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd President of the United States and one of the principal figures in early American history. Felix Schlag created the original Jefferson nickel design. On the obverse is a portrait of Jefferson facing left, while the reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home. By 1964, the Jefferson nickel had already been in circulation for more than 25 years and had become one of America's familiar everyday coins. The year 1964, however, was especially important because the United States was experiencing a severe coin shortage. Rising demand for coins, changes in the economy, and heavy collecting and hoarding of certain coins contributed to a shortage of circulating change. The mint responded by producing enormous quantities of coins, including Jefferson nickels. The 1964 issue, therefore, represents one of the highest production periods in the history of the Jefferson nickel series. The coin shortage also influenced how the mint handled production and mint marks. The Philadelphia Mint produced 1964 nickels without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint used a D mint mark. In addition, the San Francisco Assay Office produced large numbers of 1964 nickels. These San Francisco pieces are particularly interesting because the familiar S mint mark is absent from many of the regular 1964 nickel issues. This was connected to the unusual production practices during the coin shortage. The huge output of 1964 nickels means that the date itself is not considered a classic rarity. However, the enormous production numbers should not cause collectors to ignore these coins. High-grade examples, sharply struck pieces, attractive surfaces, and recognized varieties can still be desirable. The obverse of the 1964 Jefferson nickel shows a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The inscriptions include Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1964. The standard Jefferson nickel is made primarily from a copper-nickel alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of approximately 21.2 millimeters. The coin has a plain edge rather than a reeded edge. One interesting feature of the Jefferson nickel is that its basic design remained remarkably consistent for decades, making small differences in strike quality and die characteristics especially interesting to specialists. On high-grade coins, collectors pay close attention to the details of Jefferson's portrait, the lettering, the Monticello building, and especially the steps on the reverse. The mint mark is one of the first things you should check on a 1964 Jefferson nickel. 1964 nickel with no mint mark was struck at Philadelphia, and unusually for this date, also at the San Francisco facility. The 1964 Jefferson nickel is famous for its enormous production. Approximately 1.797 billion regular 1964 nickels were struck at Philadelphia, while approximately 1.787 billion 1964 D nickels were produced at Denver. In addition, approximately 1.6 billion 1964 nickels were produced at the San Francisco facility. The value of a normal 1964 Jefferson nickel depends heavily on condition. In heavily worn or poor condition, a normal example will generally be worth around its face value, roughly 5 cents, although some dealers and collectors may pay a small premium when buying groups of coins. Depending on the exact issue, grade, strike quality, and market conditions, premium certified examples can sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars, and exceptional registry quality pieces can command significantly more. Auction results demonstrate why grade matters. Some exceptionally preserved 1964 Jefferson nickels have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars when they achieved very high certified grades and possessed exceptional surfaces and eye appeal. The most valuable examples are not typical pocket change. They are usually coins at the extreme upper end of the grading scale, often with particularly strong strikes and attractive preservation. Therefore, viewers should never assume that every 1964 nickel is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. The date is common. The truly exceptional condition is what creates much of the premium. One of the most exciting aspects of searching 1964 Jefferson nickels is looking for genuine mint errors and varieties. A double die variety can show genuine doubling on lettering, numbers, or design elements. However, not every apparent doubling is a doubled die. Machine doubling and damage can easily be mistaken for valuable varieties, so authentication is important before assigning a high value. Could you still find a valuable 1964 nickel today? Absolutely, but expectations need to be realistic. Because the coin was produced in enormous quantities, 1964 nickels can still turn up in old collections, coin jars, inherited boxes, estate sales, and occasionally rolls of coins. Before selling a 1964 Jefferson nickel, inspect it carefully under good lighting. Look at Jefferson's portrait, the date, the lettering, the mint mark area, and the reverse design. As an investment, the 1964 Jefferson nickel needs to be approached carefully. Ordinary circulated examples are extremely common, so there is limited investment potential in buying large quantities of worn coins at inflated prices. One of the most surprising facts about the 1964 Jefferson nickel is the enormous number produced during the American coin shortage. This is exactly why serious collectors examine coins carefully instead of judging them simply by their age. Next up. Today we are taking a detailed look at the 2002 Liberty 5 cent, more accurately known to collectors as the 2002 Jefferson nickel. This modern American 5-cent coin may look ordinary at first, but it is still worth examining carefully because condition, mint mark, proof status, varieties, and genuine mint errors can make a major difference in collectible value. The Jefferson nickel has been one of America's most recognizable coins since 1938, and the 2002 issue belongs to the long-running series featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. Most normal 2002 nickels are common and are not worth a large premium over face value, but collectors still search them because high-grade examples and authentic mint errors can be considerably more desirable. There is also an important detail about the description 2002C. The United States Mint did not use a regular C mint mark on 2002 Jefferson nickels. Therefore, if you have a coin that appears to say 2002C, it should be examined closely because the mark may be a letter, damage, a variety, or simply a misreading of another F. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The new coin honored Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and one of the most important figures in American history. Felix Schlag designed the original Jefferson nickel, and his portrait of Jefferson appeared on the obverse, while Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, appeared on the reverse. By 2002, the design had already been used for more than 6 decades, making the Jefferson nickel one of the longest-running designs in American coinage. The 2002 issue was produced during a period when the United States Mint was continuing large-scale production of circulating coins for everyday commerce. Unlike some earlier Jefferson nickel dates, 2002 is not remembered as a major shortage-era issue. Instead, it represents a mature period of the Jefferson nickel series before the major redesigns that would take place later in the decade. The year 2002 was also an interesting period in American history and technology. The United States was using coins heavily in everyday transactions, while the internet and digital technology were rapidly changing how people communicated, shopped, and handled money. The mint continued producing enormous numbers of ordinary coins to satisfy commercial demand. For collectors today, this means that normal 2002 nickels are generally plentiful. Their importance comes more from their place in the Jefferson nickel series, their different mint issues, proof examples, and the possibility of finding unusually high-grade coins or genuine mint errors. The obverse of the 2002 Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. Around the portrait are the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 2002. The design is based on the original work of Felix Schlag, whose Jefferson portrait became one of the most familiar faces in American coinage. The mint mark is especially important when identifying a 2002 Jefferson nickel. Regular circulation examples were produced at Philadelphia and Denver. Philadelphia coins carry a P mint mark, while Denver coins carry a D mint mark. San Francisco produced proof Jefferson nickels, which carry an S mint mark, and were sold primarily to collectors in proof sets. There is no regular C mint mark associated with the 2002 Jefferson nickel. The 2002 Jefferson nickel was produced in large quantities. Philadelphia struck approximately 290.4 million circulation nickels, while Denver produced approximately 289.2 million. A normal 2002 Jefferson nickel in poor or heavily worn condition is generally worth around face value, approximately 5 cents. The 2002 Jefferson nickel can be interesting to error collectors, but it is important to separate genuine mint errors from damage. A missing mint mark on a 2002 nickel should also be treated carefully. Unlike certain older coins, where the absence of a mint mark can be an important characteristic, a normal 2002 circulation nickel should have either a P or D mint mark, depending on its mint of origin. A proof should carry an S. If a coin appears to have a missing mint mark, the area should be examined carefully for evidence of alteration or damage. A genuine mint error affecting the mint mark could be interesting, but it should be authenticated before assigning significant value. Wrong planchet errors are among the most exciting possibilities. If a 2002 Jefferson nickel were genuinely struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or another type of coin, its unusual weight, diameter, and metal composition could provide important evidence. Such errors are rare and can be valuable, but authentication is essential because altered or chemically treated coins can sometimes imitate unusual compositions. Could a valuable 2002 Jefferson nickel still be found today? Yes, although the treasure is more likely to be an exceptional condition coin or genuine error than an ordinary example. Because 2002 nickels are modern coins and were produced in very large quantities, they can still be found in circulation, coin rolls, old jars, collections, household boxes, and inherited accumulations. Before selling a 2002 Jefferson nickel, examine it under bright, neutral lighting and use a magnifying glass if necessary. Check the date, mint mark, surfaces, rims, edges, and reverse design. Extreme temperature changes. Handle collectible coins by their edges and avoid touching the fields because fingerprints and oils can affect the surface over time. The investment potential of the ordinary 2002 Jefferson nickel is limited because so many examples were produced. Buying common circulated coins at inflated prices is generally not a strong investment strategy. The Jefferson nickel series has a large and established collector community, which gives the series long-term collecting appeal. However, future value is never guaranteed. Demand, population reports, auction results, grading standards, and collector preferences can all change. For someone building a collection, The best approach is to learn how to identify quality and rarity rather than purchasing a coin simply because someone claims it is valuable. One fascinating fact about the Jefferson nickel is that the design has been part of American life since 1938, making it one of the country's longest-running coin designs. Next up, welcome to another exciting coin treasure hunt. Today, we are looking at the 1986 Liberty 5 cent, more accurately known to collectors as the 1986 Jefferson nickel. This small 5-cent coin is part of one of America's longest-running coin series, and although the normal 1986 nickel is common, certain high-grade examples, attractive specimens, and genuine mint errors can be much more interesting to collectors. The biggest mistake beginners make is assuming that an older date automatically means a coin is rare. The 1986 Jefferson nickel was produced in large numbers, so most circulated examples are worth only face value or a small premium. However, condition, mint mark, strike quality, varieties, and authenticated mint errors can dramatically change the value. That makes the 1986 nickel a fun coin to search, because you are not simply looking for an old coin, you are looking for the right combination of rarity and quality. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. The new 5-cent coin honored Thomas Jefferson, America's third president and one of the most influential figures in the nation's early history. Felix Schlag designed the original Jefferson nickel, placing Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and Monticello, his Virginia home, on the reverse. By 1986, this design had been in American commerce for almost half a century. The 1986 issue, therefore, represents an important middle period in the long Jefferson nickel series, when the classic design was still being used for everyday transactions. The United States was producing large quantities of coins during the 1980s to meet the needs of a growing economy and a population using coins in vending machines, parking meters, stores, and other everyday transactions. The 1986 nickel was not produced because of a special anniversary or major commemorative event. It was primarily an ordinary circulating issue, but its place in the Jefferson series gives it lasting collecting interest. For today's collectors, the 1986 date is especially useful as part of a complete date and mint mark Jefferson nickel collection. The obverse of the 1986 Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 1986 surround the portrait. The 1986 Jefferson nickel weighs approximately 5 grams and measures approximately 21.2 millimeters across. It has a plain edge and uses the standard copper-nickel composition of approximately 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition gives the nickel its familiar gray-silver appearance. The coin was built to withstand heavy circulation, which is why heavily worn examples can still survive today in large numbers. The mint mark is one of the first things you should check on a 1986 Jefferson nickel. Philadelphia-produced nickels carry a P mint mark, while Denver-produced nickels carry a D mint mark. The 1986 Jefferson nickel was produced in very large quantities. Approximately 536.4 million circulation nickels were struck at Philadelphia, while approximately 625.72 million were produced at Denver. The value of a 1986 Jefferson nickel depends strongly on its condition, mint mark, strike, and whether it has a recognized variety or genuine mint error. In poor condition, a normal circulated example is generally worth its face value of 5 cents. In ordinary circulated condition, many 1986 nickels still trade close to face value. Fine condition examples may be worth around 5 to 15 cents, while extremely fine examples can commonly fall around 10 to 25 cents, depending on the specific coin and market. The 1986 Jefferson nickel can be exciting for error collectors because genuine mint errors can be worth substantially more than normal examples. Double dies require particular caution. A true double die variety originates during die production and can show genuine separation in letters, numbers, or design details. However, many coins advertised online as double die examples actually show machine doubling, die deterioration, scratches, or damage. Machine doubling generally does not carry the same premium as a genuine doubled die. If a 1986 nickel appears to have strong doubling, compare it with authenticated references or have it examined by a specialist before assuming it is rare. A missing mint mark can also create confusion, because normal 1986 Philadelphia nickels were supposed to carry a P. A coin that genuinely lacks the expected mint mark could be interesting, but the area must be examined carefully. Damage, corrosion, polishing, or alteration can remove or obscure a mint mark. A wrong planchet 1986 nickel would be much more unusual. Such a coin could show an unexpected weight, diameter, or metal composition, but professional authentication would be essential before assigning substantial value. Before selling a 1986 Jefferson nickel, inspect it carefully under good lighting. Check the date, mint mark, rims, surfaces, and reverse design. The ordinary 1986 Jefferson nickel has limited investment potential because of its enormous production numbers. One fascinating fact about the 1986 Jefferson nickel is that it belongs to a coin design that had already been in production for almost 50 years. Next up today, we are looking at the 2013 D Liberty 5 cent, more accurately known to collectors as the 2013 D Jefferson nickel. At first glance, this modern 5-cent coin may look like an ordinary piece of pocket change, but it can still be interesting to collectors who know what to look for. The 2013 D nickel was struck at the Denver Mint for circulation and carries the traditional Jefferson portrait on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. It is not a rare key date in normal circulated condition because millions were produced, but high-grade examples, particularly coins with excellent surfaces and strong strikes, can bring premiums. Genuine mint errors can be even more desirable. This means the real treasure is not simply owning a 2013 D nickel, it is discovering an example with exceptional condition, an unusual variety, or a verified mint error. The Jefferson nickel first appeared in 1938 when the United States Mint replaced the Buffalo nickel. The new design honored Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Felix Schlag designed the original Jefferson nickel, placing Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, on the reverse. By 2013, the Jefferson nickel had been part of American coinage for approximately 75 years, making it one of the longest-running designs still familiar to the public. The 2013 D nickel was a regular circulating coin rather than a commemorative issue. It was produced to meet the everyday demand for 5-cent pieces used in stores, vending machines, transportation systems, and countless other transactions. In 2013, the United States was well into the modern digital era, with electronic payments becoming increasingly popular, but physical coins remained an important part of everyday commerce. The Mint, therefore, continued producing large quantities of nickels. For collectors today, the 2013 D issue represents a modern continuation of the classic Jefferson nickel series and is commonly collected as part of complete date and mint mark sets. The obverse of the 2013 D Jefferson nickel displays a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The D mint mark is one of the most important identification features on this coin. The D indicates that the 2013 D Jefferson nickel was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The more important factors are condition, strike quality, varieties, errors, and certification. The 2013 D Jefferson nickel was produced in a large quantity. Approximately 800 million 2013 D nickels were struck at the Denver Mint. This enormous production makes the normal 2013 D nickel a common modern issue rather than a scarce or key date. The normal 2013 D Jefferson nickel in poor condition is generally worth its face value of 5 cents. In ordinary circulated condition, it usually remains around face value, although attractive pieces may sell for a small premium in larger collections or dealer lots. The 2013 D Jefferson nickel can be especially interesting when it comes to genuine mint errors. Possible errors include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, die cracks, die breaks, cuds, rotated dies, and certain forms of doubling. Could you still find a valuable 2013 D nickel today? Yes, but the most realistic treasure is not an ordinary circulated example. Because the coin was produced in enormous quantities, 2013 D nickels can still be found in circulation, coin rolls, change jars, old collections, estate sales, and boxes of accumulated coins. The exciting possibility is finding one that has been protected from circulation or one showing a genuine mint era. Roll searching is a simple way for beginners to learn. Compare multiple 2013 D nickels and look for differences in surface quality, strike strength, unusual shapes, and possible errors. A coin with brilliant original luster and very few marks may be worth setting aside even if it is not rare. If you discover a dramatic error, do not clean or alter it. Preserve the coin exactly as found and seek an expert opinion. Before selling a 2013 D Jefferson nickel, examine it carefully under good lighting. Start with the date and D mint mark, then inspect the portrait, lettering, rim, fields, and Monticello. Look for original luster, contact marks, scratches, discoloration, and evidence of cleaning. If you believe you have discovered an error, compare the coin with a normal 2013 D nickel and use magnification to study the suspected feature. Do not polish or clean the coin. Household chemicals, abrasive materials, rubbing, scraping, and polishing can permanently damage the surfaces and reduce collector value. A natural-looking coin with original surfaces is generally preferable to an artificially bright coin. If the coin appears to be a major error or an exceptionally high-grade specimen, professional authentication and grading can help establish its identity and market value. For storage, use inert holders or archival quality coin storage materials. Avoid PVC-containing flips, excessive moisture, extreme temperatures, and chemical exposure. Handle the coin by its edges and avoid touching the surfaces with your fingers. Good storage is particularly important if you are trying to preserve an uncirculated coin for future grading. The investment potential of a normal 2013 D Jefferson nickel is limited because so many were produced. One fascinating fact about the 2013 D Jefferson nickel is that it belongs to a coin design that had already served Americans for approximately 75 years. Very few U.S. If you enjoyed this complete 2013 D Jefferson nickel treasure hunt, make sure to like this video. Leave a comment telling us whether you have a 2013 D nickel and what condition it is in. And subscribe to Coin TISUIS HD for more rare coin discoveries, valuable nickels, mint errors, coin values, and collecting tips. Check your pockets, coin rolls, jars, old boxes, and family collections today, because you never know what unusual coin might be hiding in plain sight.